The World Economic Forum is like a book club for incredibly wealthy people who literally have nothing better to do. The admission for the World Economic Forum is $20,000. Do you have 20 grand to burn just like that? And I'm not counting the plane ticket and the hotel reservation. That's extra. Do you know anyone that has the money to burn like that? Because the mindset of such a person must be so fundamentally different and so detached than the rest of the common folk that it leads them to release videos like this. I mean, no, seriously, think about it. Like, I, for one, when I finished med school, I was thinking about my medical career. I was thinking about, like, these are the steps that I need to climb. This is what I need to do in order to advance in the profession and be a better doctor. And I ended up being a YouTuber. And even then, when I'm a YouTuber, I still think it's like, how can I improve my videos? Like, how can I improve my rhetoric? How can I improve the quality of the things that I have? But if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, do you even need to improve anything? I mean, isn't it like you reach a dead end at one point? And instead of like trying to improve yourself, I guess you're trying to create a legacy and improve the world, even if the world doesn't want to be improved. Because that's the question you have to ask. Like, can these people even relate to the average Joe? I mean, if you're a billionaire, you're never going to have to worry about healthcare, right? If you are in the middle of a calamity, like in Texas, you can just take a plane and fly away. I mean, think about it this way. Why did people dislike Ted Cruz? And I know right-wingers, okay? I know right-wingers that dislike Ted Cruz. It's because when in Texas, the electricity cut off and the water cut off, they disliked Ted Cruz because he had the option of leaving. That's why. Okay? Now, even if his job wasn't to be in Texas, like, that's not his job. And you would say that the state governor is more responsible. People didn't like it just because he had the option of leaving. And most average people do not have that option. Okay? Wealthy people, millionaires, are never going to go through the problem of not having money and your cat getting sick. And you want to take that cat to the vet, you want to help it, but you just don't have money. They're not going to go through the problem of unable to carry one wage from one month to another, and then the washing machine breaks out. What do you do then? You know, this is something that most average people go at least once in their life. Like, every person that I knew, even wealthy people, like upper middle class people, have one time went through these issues. They went through this struggle. Billionaires don't go through this struggle, which is why they're releasing absolutely ridiculous videos which end up being deleted because the public just don't like it. And the reason they do this is because I have doubts that the Echo Chamber Book Club, that is the World Economic Forum, actually has a single working class lad over there to talk with. To actually ask the common people on the ground that get affected by what they're talking there, to ask them some questions and to at least see if they can understand the other point of view. Maybe they have like statistics and polls, but it's not the same thing, okay? Like, statistics and polls are soulless. That is the theory. In practice, things are different. When you actually see how people on the ground are suffering and they are feeling miserable, it changes your worldview. And I do think that even a billionaire, if they would go into the hood at least once in their life and understand the lifestyle and the mentality that those people are dealing with, maybe they could change their mind and they would stop being so detached from reality. So they're talking about how the lockdowns have benefits. Now, the lockdowns were sold to the public as a necessity, okay? It's health risk. Like, you don't go outside because you don't want to transmit a deadly illness to other people. And, you know, like, most citizens agreed, at least in Europe. Like, I don't know about in the United States, but we had elections in Europe and they voted for parties that were in favor of lockdown. So I suppose, like, people agree with this, okay? At least the overwhelming majority. Obviously not every single one, and those that don't agree are getting banned from social media, so we don't hear about them. But just because people complied and stood at home, that doesn't mean that they enjoyed it, okay? They didn't have the happy faces while being at home. No, they were being at home anxious because they were worried about the economical repercussions that might come next year, okay? Because just like when you go to the doctor and they give you treatment for an illness, then they give you the receipt. Okay, you need the treatment to get healthy, but you still have to pay afterwards for that. So people are indeed very worried that they might not be able to put food on the table, because apparently that's also important for the population, okay, putting food on the table. Like, staying healthy is one thing, and it's important, but putting food on the fucking table is also important. Other people got fired. They don't know when they're going to get a job back. You want to hear a sick joke? Like, the sickest joke that I possibly know in my entire life. I'm going to tell it to you right now. I said it a couple of weeks ago, but I'll say it again, in case you're new to my channel. My aunt lost her job because of the quarantine measures. Okay, the lockdowns. She was working at the hotel industry. She got fired. Well, at least there's still one income in the household. But a couple of weeks later, my uncle passes away from COVID. So it's a very fucked up situation that a lot of people have to go through it. If not the disease, then the measures. Okay, if one doesn't fuck you, the other one does. So at least, World Economic Forum, at least have some fucking compassion. At least if it's not too much to ask. Stop putting bullshit videos like this out, where you're almost cheering that this is happening. Because I'm telling you why they're cheering. Because for a couple of years before, they had a vision. They had a vision. Imagine like this, okay? Imagine if I have a vision to buy my neighbor's house. I want to buy my neighbor's house so that I can create some, I don't know, fancy postmodernist construction. I can have a big build-up penis that goes from my house to my neighbor, and now we can just travel through it, and that's what I want to do. But my goddamn neighbor doesn't want to sell the house. Yeah, he just doesn't see it. He doesn't want to sell it. And one day when I look out the window and I see that there's a fire, instead of like getting my ass and taking a bucket and filling it with water and going to help my neighbor, I'm like, oh, what a great opportunity this is. Ah! Everyone is going to think I'm mentally insane if I behave like that. But the thing is that these book club billionaires don't understand that this is how people see them. When they look at it and they look at this tragedy, and instead of like, you know, offering some sympathy for the people that lost their job or lost their loved ones because of this shit, they're like, oh, this is a great opportunity. Oh, what is wrong with people? And by the way, like, they probably consider me ridiculous because I'm making this thing. But if I were to appear at the World Economic Forum in a suit and I would say, oh, this is your captain speaking with a very captain and professional-like voice. For the next year, we are going to push for more taxation, more taxes, more. Everyone is like, oh, wow, no, V is such a smart and intelligent fellow. Because that's all it matters nowadays in today's culture. Put on a suit and speak with a nice and educated voice. And then people listen. If you're like me, if you go cuckoo with an unkept hair and you have a low-pitched voice, no one cares about what you have to say. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't want people to care about what I have to say. Jesus, imagining listening to myself, right? But anyway, right, so you look at this video. Just look how detached it is from reality, right? Everyone is suffering. And as I mentioned, unless you're a rich person, if you haven't lost your job, you're probably worried that you are going to. And you know, like, this is not fun. Like, I haven't heard a single person who had to go into being locked in their apartment and having fun while doing it. They do it because it's a necessary thing. Like, they have to. It's an obligation. They're not happy. They're waiting for this to be over so they can go back to normal. But no, apparently, like, look, it's good. It's good that the streets are empty because now scientists have managed to measure earthquakes. Oh, fuck me. Well, if scientists have managed to measure earthquakes, that's so good, right? Like, we're going to get a warning next time. So that the next time an earthquake comes, because that's what I actually say here, like, they're going to be able to predict. They're going to be able to use these measurements in order to predict earthquakes. Oh, well, that's great. That is perfect. Because next time I know that there's an earthquake, I know that I'm not allowed to go outside because it's a fucking quarantine. Because for a billionaire who lives in a big-ass mansion and has to travel more than 10 kilometers before he sees another human being that's not his fucking servant, then yeah, I guess, like, this doesn't really matter, does it? Like, you can just walk around on your private property, like, the cops aren't allowed to go in there anyway. And then it's like, oh, fewer people use transport. Yeah, I'm telling you why. I don't think billionaires use fewer transport because they have private jets, don't they? Yeah, they fly around in their freaking private jets while lecturing others about flying. Oh my fucking god, like these people are so detached. It's unreal. Okay? Factories are closed. Oh, great. So everything is going to become more expensive, isn't it? Look at this shit. The quiet enables scientists to record small earthquakes they would usually miss and improve their understanding of seismic activity. So they can predict larger earthquakes in the future. What's the point if you can't go outside? If you can't go outside, you know there's an earthquake. Like, what do I do? Do I stay indoors or do I risk getting a fine? I mean, I saw in Germany the other day, like 6 police officers chasing a 17-year-old because he didn't have a mask in the park. And I'm like, wow, that's great use of police resources. Takes 6 people to catch one 17-year-old. Holy shit. Why not send the entire department after him? And by the way, like you get to see these pictures all over the internet. It's just like 20, 30 police. Like I'm trying to find the video with the most police officers after one guy. Okay? Like I'm not saying that police officers get to pick and choose whatever law they want to apply. Like the law is the law. You know, the police officer has to enforce it. But like you have to ask yourself, it's like, isn't there like something that talks about wasting resources and manpower? Like when you send more than 5 guys after one individual, like you just have to wonder. You just have to wonder, like what if something else happens in another part of the city? How are you going to solve that? What if a grandma walks without a mask in the north end of the city? Are you going to have enough manpower to send 20 people after her if you already sent 60 after the guy in the park? Fucking hell. Ah. Oh, and the censorship. The censorship as well. It's like, my god. I was talking with a barber the other day, you know, while he was doing my hair. And he was saying some weird shit. And I was like, man, this guy wouldn't survive on Twitter. Like, he would not manage to make it on Twitter. Like, his opinions, like, he was asking questions. That's the problem. Anyway, right, so then they talk about air pollution, and it's oh yeah, it's record, and by late 2020 it's like it's returned and now it's bad, so we need to get it back down again. Go into the ghetto, alright? Go into the ghetto where the working class lads are, you know, the people that are doing the manual labor, the ones that are building the things, the ones that worked in the factories that you call they are empty. And see the drama that happens in their family, all right? See just how much they're suffering. Seriously, just try to relate to them, like one human being to another. And then tell them that's like, yeah, you know what happened last year? I think it should happen again. Find a different solution for your problem. Figure it out. I don't fucking care. If you're billionaires, figure out something that works for everyone. Or at least it's not this. Human beings are not supposed to live this way, man. They definitely are not. And the only reason billionaires are pushing for this is because they're not living like this. They don't have to live like this. Every single measure that they're enforcing upon the rest of us, it doesn't apply to them. Because when you have enough money, when you have enough resources, you don't have to deal with people calling you 5 times while making a video. Because you have a freaking secretary to deal with that when you have enough money. But yeah, you know, and by the way, I'm so sick and tired of the actors. Like the actors that know how to act, going at the World Economic Forum, and then preaching to their millions of subscribers on Twitter about their hot political takes. Yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger driving around his muscle cars is then going to take a picture on a bicycle with Greta Thunberg, and that's called his activism for the day. Do they honestly think that people are that dumb and they don't notice? Like, if you're going to get someone, like, here's my advice, okay? If you're going to get someone to lecture the masses about not polluting, going with Greta Thunberg was a perfect idea. At least, you know, she doesn't have muscle cars. At least she doesn't have private jets. Like, I can at least somehow understand why I would want to be lectured by a 17-year-old. But I don't understand why you're lecturing me with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is just one little step that I can't take. You know, like, when the guy goes and makes money by filming movies that have explosions and all of the sorts of things that you wouldn't do if you're legitimately concerned about the environment, then I genuinely, like, I can't compute. I don't want to be lectured on how to live by a person that doesn't live the way that he wants me to live. I hope you got entertained. You know, like this is a little bit entertaining. I'm actually surprised they took it down, to be honest. Like, in a way, they seem to actually care what average people think. And if that's the case, if you legitimately care what average people think, why don't you invite average people to your World Economic freaking Forum? How can average people even attend if it's 20 grand? You know, like, why not have a section for the average people? Just get some of the plebs in there. So you at least get, like, the situation on the ground. But anyway, like, I generally don't think they even want to get the situation on the ground because they don't care. You know, in 2021, we live in the age of technology and information. If you have the corporations on your side, if you have the actors on your side and the influencers and the politicians, doesn't really matter what people think, because then you can just craft and create opinions. If something's not popular, you can brand it and remake it and create it popular. Like, there's an entire art on marketing now. You know, people go to university to study how marketing works. And it's done to an art form, where even if something is popular, they can make it unpopular. And if something is bad, they can create it and package it. That is the most amazing thing ever. So yeah, you know, but we'll see. You know, we'll see how this goes. By the way, the World Economic Forum, just so you understand, doesn't have legal binding powers. Because I keep hearing, like, the press saying this. It's like, yeah, but they don't have legal binding powers. It's like, of course they don't. They don't have legal binding power. What they do is they have the money to pay actors to push their ideology. And then they get politicians over there, which, if they're not lobbying directly, they can even get a politician on camera to say that, yeah, we agree with your plan and we're going to implement it in our country. That's what they do. So yeah, technically, they don't have any economic, they don't have any political power, but they do have massive influence. They have far more influence than you and I, by the way. Or the newspaper that's complaining about them not having economic power. Anyway, let me know what you think. Sorry for the little rant. I just wanted to get this off my chest, because, like, it's very difficult to see, like, how detached they have become. And I'll see what you guys have to say in the comment section. Take care.